Hello everyone, welcome back to another Spring Boot with Angular tutorial video. And in this one we are going to be talking about something that we mentioned in one of the previous videos, and that would be Liquibase. As you can see, I'm here on their web page, and basically if you don't know what Liquibase is, it's think of it as a version control for your database. So it's mentioned right here, and it will allow us to do all of these nice little changes on our entity, so to our database, to our schema, without much worries on how it will look like in our database. So is it executed good or not? Do we have to worry about some data will be lost or something like that? Everything will be handled by Liquibase and we don't have to do much. Here on their webpage you can find a lot of things about it. You can find some tutorials, you can find documentation and all of that nice stuff. I will not be going through it, but I'll link it in the description so you can check it out for yourself. So let's go back to our IntelliJ. I've already implemented everything, and I just wanted to guide you through the changes I have and show you how it looks like. So for this one, you might want to drop your tables. I already have some other ones because I already tried it to see if it works, but I'm going to drop these also, and you will see that my schema is empty, so I don't have any tables. It should be the same for you when you start this video. So if I run this, you can see that it's empty, there is nothing. Okay, let's go back to IntelliJ and see what I have done. First, you want to go to your main build Cradle file. So it's in the modules. It's above the module, so it's the main one. And here you want to apply the Liquibase plugin. So you want to add this. It's with this version, and you want to apply it to all of the sub projects. I will be linking also the commit directly here, so you don't actually have to type it out. You can just copy paste everything from there. Now, with that being done, we want to go to our modules, backend, and the main magic is in the build Cradle file of our backend module. Here you can see I have added some implementations. So we have the Liquibase core, and we have the Logback core and Logback classic. This has been documented on their page, and there are actually some issues when you're trying to run Liquibase without this, and I ran into them, so adding these two solves them for me. And since we are using Hibernate, we are also including this dependency. If you are not using Hibernate, for example, in some other project that you're doing, there are also different ways to handle that. For example, you can get the difference in between the databases from a different database, so like your production database and your development database, or you can get it from the H2 in-memory database and stuff like that. But for now, we are going to be doing it this way, and I will explain you what exactly am I doing. And with these dependencies that we have here, we also add them to the Liquibase runtime. So we have the Liquibase core, the Logback core, Classic, Hibernate, and we also have the MySQL connector and the Spring Boot started data JPA, because this is something that we are using here. So you also need this. And this is also to handle some issues also documented on a page I will link, so you can take a look at why we need this. Now, the next thing that we have done is we have defined a changelog file. So this is just a path to it. So where it will be created, the name doesn't really matter, but you can see that it's in the resources folder. So this will be in the backend, source, main, resources, and I've created an empty database folder here. So this one, and then you also have a file. It's called changelog master for me, but you can name it whatever you want. Doesn't really matter. And here you have seen that there is a Diff Task. This is a difference task, so it tells you the difference between the entities that you have, so the Hibernate entities and your database. And there is also a different changelog, and it all depends on compile Java, because you have to compile it in order to run it. So to have the latest version of it, basically. And generate changelog is a task that actually generates this changelog for you and stores in a file, this one here. The next one, we have this Liquibase section, and we have the activities, and there is just one, it's called main. Here we defined some properties like the changelog file, which is the path is here. The username and password to our database, so it's all the same as we have in our properties file. We have the class path, so this is something that you need because if you use the absolute path here for the changelog, it doesn't work, so you have to add this. And there is a reference URL. So the reference URL is what you are referring to when taking a look at the changes. And we're looking at the Hibernate entities, so you also need to specify the Hibernate dialect here. If you would, you can, for example, here you can specify that you want to use a different database, so you can compare two databases and stuff like that. But for our purposes, this is more than enough. The next thing that you want to take a look is the application properties. We want to say Spring Liquibase enabled false. We want to disable Liquibase on the application startup. So a couple of things I also did is I created two Cradle tasks here. One is called execute changelog and one is called generate changelog. So if we take a look at this one, I'll also commit them so you will also be able to see them. But if you're not using IntelliJ, then all you need to do is so it's called Diff Changelog. So you can go to the terminal and just run Diff Changelog, and that would be exactly the same as you would run this. I will just run this one, and what this will do, it will actually create our changelog. So you will see that it found some change set, count 2, and it found some columns on our vehicle table because also on our vehicle entity, because this is the only one that we have. And it also created this changelog master file, so the name which was specified in our build Cradle file. And it's in the database folder, and the changelog is here, and you can see that it has all of the properties of the vehicle entity. This is currently the only entity that we have, so it has all of these columns that we created before. And now if we go to our database, we refresh it, and you can see that there are no tables. So the next thing that you want to do is you want to execute this changelog. So basically you want to apply this to your schema. What this does is it just runs the update task. So in the terminal, that would be Cradle W update, and let's run it. After the update task has been run, we should have all of our tables here. So let's refresh it, and you can see that we have our vehicle table now. So let's create some data here. Let me just paste some things here, and now we have one vehicle. So it's just one vehicle with some created timestamp, a modified timestamp, whatever. What we want to try now is, so before I do that, just to say this is it. So we are already done. Our Liquibase is running. You can run this execute task as many times as you want. If there is nothing to execute, it will just skip it. So there is nothing. Same with generation. So it won't generate anything in addition. If it's there, it's there. Nothing needs to be done. So you can see that there are no changes found, nothing to do. But if you want to actually do a change, we go to our entity, we go to vehicle, and let's add a column. And let's just, copy paste this here. Now, if I run this, it should detect this column, the new one that we added, and it should add it to the changelog. And as you can see, it found it, and it has been detected. But still, if you refresh, you can see that here we still don't have it because we didn't execute it. For example, in our case, you could start the application, nothing would happen because we are not using this. But if you would be using it somewhere and then try to save this entity to the database, it would fail because the column doesn't exist. So your application still can start before you execute the before you execute the Liquibase changes. But if you try to use this column, it will just fail. So let's execute the changelog, and you can see that now if we refresh it and run this, we have the hello column. So it has been added. Same would be if we would delete it. So if I revert this, if I again generate the changelog, so now this should generate the removal of the column. And if I now execute the changelog and wait a bit, refresh, select, the hello column is gone. I will delete this file now and generate it again, because I don't want to have the column and then removal of the column in it. But yeah, besides that, everything should stay the same, and I will commit this file anyway, so you will have it, and then you can just run the task directly. So to summarize what we did, we went to the application properties, we added this Spring Liquibase enabled false because we don't want to execute it on the startup. We removed this DDL auto update because we don't need it anymore. In our main build Gradle, we have added our Liquibase Gradle plugin and applied it to all of the sub projects. And in the modules, so backend Gradle file, we have added implementations that we needed, and we added these properties and configuration basically for our Liquibase to tell it what we want to do, and all of the nice tasks. And in addition, yeah, this changelog file has been created, and also we have what else do we have? Yeah, the Gradle tasks here. And basically that would be everything for this video. I will commit everything, and then if you have any questions or anything is unclear, do let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.